friends, this is Christina Gallegos and we're going to make some bread today. First off, you might be noticing, why am I wearing my pajamas? It is officially the one day a year that I wear my jammies. So here we go, we're making jammies in the kitchen and making bread today. So in my bowl, we have some King Arthur flour. I just like that it doesn't have any weird stuff in it. And I'm going to go ahead and add my yeast into my flour. And you might be wondering, why is she doing this? I promise it's going to all make sense at the end. So I have my yeast. I'm going to lightly toss it around in my flour, kind of mix it in. Get that all nice and spread through, so we don't want yeast all in one spot of our flour. And then I'm going to add some salt, which is interesting because a lot of times you can't mix in salt with your yeast because they're not friends. Salt will kill yeast. But in this way, mixing it into the flour, it kind of gives enough separation where they can be friends and they can make bread together. All right, so we have all the flour, our yeast, our salt. The next thing I'm going to go for is warmed up water and milk. I like to use the milk because it makes for a softer bread. And I have about 1.5 cups of milk and water, and it's warm. It's warm enough that I can stick my finger in it and not be burned. And I just poured that kind of in the middle of the flour. Next, I'm going to take some olive oil, and we're going to just dump some of that in. And you might be going, does she really cook that way? Yes, I really do. Sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. So right now I'm adding in some molasses, which is really dark. Add some good minerals for your body. Add some nice flavor and depth to your bread. And then we're going to put in some raw honey. Again, that's just for the sweetness because it's a little cooler today. It's coming out awfully thick. The sweetness also gives the yeast something fun to grab hold of and to kind of feed on and spread. That's what makes our bread rise. So I'm going to go ahead and start mixing that through. I'm not kneading the bread right now. I'm just mixing this warm water, this warm milk, the olive oil, the molasses, the honey, and you can see already my flour is starting to get kind of dry and kind of clumpy. I don't want that, so what I'm going to do is add a little more liquid in. Okay, and we're going to see how that goes. See how that feels. It's starting to pull together. I'm going to go ahead and just dump the rest of that in there. And I hope you're doing really good today. And there is going to be a Bible study lesson based on bread. And so it's kind of fun to kind of begin to wrap our minds around, what is bread? Bread is usually something I just go to a grocery store and buy off of the shelf. And in the old days, this was a very common practice to sit here and make bread. It was a very common part of the meal. It was the main part of the meal. So for all you keto lovers and you New Year's resolutions, I won't eat bread, I'm so sorry. We're doing bread today because it's good for you. And for me, I'm going to add just a little bit of spices just to kind of make the bread a little bit interesting today. So that was probably, I don't know, a tablespoon. That's probably about 2 tablespoons of just some herbs to give some nice flavor and nice depth. We'll probably have some soup a little bit later on today, and this bread's going to go really great. So my bread's getting sticky, and that's a good thing. When we start getting this sticky, that's when we start getting the gluten. So all you people out there who are gluten-free, I'm so sorry. This is where the magic happens. So I'm going to pull it out of my bowl, and I'm setting it down. Let me move that out of the way. And I'm going to begin to knead my bread. And it's not like I need to eat my bread today. I do. I love bread. But this is kneading with a K, and this is where we get to have arms of steel, and we'll say it's the workout. So again, all you keto lovers, when you kind of do that, how much fiber is in it. So if I have more fiber, then maybe a little bit of carbs, I can have more protein. There is like 13%, almost 13% protein in this bread. So maybe that could count on your New Year's resolution. So anyway, still sitting here kneading the bread. It takes a while to knead the bread. When it starts getting super sticky, I'm reaching in my flour bag and I'm going to sprinkle some more down on my granite countertop, which I love because my bread doesn't stick to it. But when it starts to get a little funky, a little weird to work with, I'm just going to throw more flour in there and kind of work it in. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm kind of pushing it through, kind of pick it up, and then I'm pushing it through again. And each time I'm doing that, it's causing gluten to spread or to kind of do its fun thing, and that's what makes bread start to get that little stretchy thing going on there. And that's what we want. So again, I'm going to keep adding in more flour until this becomes nice and smooth and super elastic. So again, we have it made just going to the grocery store and buying our bread off the shelf. It's so easy. My goodness, it's so easy. But nothing beats baking fresh bread, especially on a cold day. Makes your house smell so good. It makes you just want to eat the entire loaf all by yourself, which I might do. If you're a really good friend, I might possibly invite you over and we could share this bread, but I won't be sharing it with more than one person because I want to eat this bread too. So here we go. My dough is feeling really good, nice and smooth. I'm actually a little winded here. It's quite the workout sitting here making bread and just working that yeast through, making sure that's through the bread, that's feeling nice and smooth and elastic, and it is, and I still have it like stuck to my fingers. That's kind of a fun thing. So what I'm going to do is grab my bread pan and I'm going to put some nonstick spray in it. Okay, so like that. I'm going to take my bread, I'm going to roll it out just a little bit more because I don't want a lump right in the middle. So I'm going to take it. It's feeling nice and smooth. I don't know if you can see kind of like that smoothness kind of going on. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. That's what we're looking for in the dough for this bread to be ready. I'm going to take it, flop it in the pan, put it in a warm spot like on top of my refrigerator, maybe in a very low temp oven, and just allow this to double in size to get bigger. And then we'll push it down again. It'll grow up big again, fluff up, and then toss it in the oven and bake it. And we're going to have an amazing loaf of bread.